What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Culture Marauders podcast, the show where we maraud on all culture and deliver the goods to you, the masses. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm your host, Kels, and with me is Rina.
That's good.
So it is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. 13 days into this year, and we already got some shit to talk about. I didn't expect it to happen this soon, but, again, here we are. So, like I said, we're doing a show tonight. We're calling this one "This Is America," right? So I remember, I was a fan of the really dope Childish Gambino video song and all that stuff. And basically, the chickens have come home to roost with what we've been seeing in our society. And, this is America. So tonight we're marauding on America. And joining us tonight for the show is that we got a couple of OG marauders, fellas who've been on the show a couple times, so familiar faces. So we got Jeff Hunt of Jeff Needs Help podcast, and the homie Kyle Dawkins, Kal Expo out of North Carolina. What's happening, fellas?
I'm glad to be here, man. It's so good to see you again. It's been months. It's been months since we did a show. But I keep up with your work. I'm glad to be here, especially with Kyle and Rina tonight. This is my first time, so I'm super excited.
Good. So how's the show been going for you?
Man, I tell you what, it's awesome, man. Jeff Needs Help. Jeff Needs Sports is really had a good year. Started the Off the Ball Network with a couple dope friends of mine, Mo Murphy, Chris LeBron. The network grows day by day. The content's great. The articles are great. I've been in this for like 16 months now, maybe 17 months. I can't believe how well it's went. It's guys like you that gave me a chance. You know what I mean? Like you were on. We met during the Chicago Bulls, episodes last spring and the lockdown. But it's people like you that gave me a chance and reach out that I've networked with. And it's things are going really great, man. It's pretty cool.
That's good, man. I'm glad to hear it, man. And like you know a lot about sports, like. I know a lot about some random stuff, but you know a lot about sports. So I'm glad that, the shows and the network is working out for you, man. So definitely be on the lookout, y'all, fellow Marauders, for anything Jeff Hunt is putting out or tied to. So
I appreciate that.
So with that being said, we got the other OG, Kyle Dawkins, Kal Expo out of Carolina, the great state of Carolina, North Carolina, that is.
Great state of North Carolina. Great state. Happy to be back. I've been away for a while. Just a lot of stuff going on. Just, and keeping up with everything. I've been asking Kels, just when are we gonna get back on? And we spoke about some things the other day, and now he was just like, hey, what about Wednesday? And I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. So, here I am, like I said, glad to be back and glad to be hosting with you guys and let's get into it.
All right. So before we get into it, Rina, how have things been? You got some new developments? Life is different, a little different for you?
Life's different. Well, I just came from the store and I stood in the aisle. I had to get stuff. We're sending the kids back to school. And I had to go down the aisle and get the school supplies and walk down the toilet paper aisle. And I was like, come on, not again, guys. Again with the toilet paper. Again.
A lot of dirty asses this winter, I'm telling you, man.
So wipe out. Toilet paper, all cleaning supplies again. Here we go. So I'm like just bracing. We're only 13 days into the year and I'm just bracing for what's coming next.
Looks a lot like this time last year, or at least what was coming.
I thought we had talked about this already on radio shows. You don't have to take all the toilet paper.
They don't listen. Like I said, you gotta start questioning people, right? Because if there ain't no toilet paper, who's wiping their ass? Like you know. So
we got some wet wipes.
Just get in the shower. Just get in the shower.
Get you a good.
You turn the shower on. You get the water warming up. You do your business. I like that. I like that approach. Sometimes you have to, man. As I get older, I'm learning these things. I can tell you.
Jesus. So
No, seriously, like, and not to cut you off, like, me and my son just had this conversation yesterday, and it was like, I was like, after the desert, I told him, I was like, dude, I hate toilet paper. Like, we got a multitude of baby wipes in the house, and I'm like, no, toilet paper doesn't work for me anymore. It does not.
It doesn't work anymore.
No, I hear you. I can't go down this rabbit hole, but I could do a whole show on this, man, but you're not wrong.
Your septic tank with all those wipes.
Oh, They take no prisoners out here, man.
Don't.
I'm looking for you.
Yeah, you got to throw. You know, you got a bag handy now. That's the part that's not cool. But you know, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So.
Man, you got to worry about the wildlife out here. They care about the gators, the raccoons, the possums, the bobcats. They don't want you throwing them wet wipes down the toilet, man. I'm telling you, they come looking for you.
That's true.
So, well, speaking of things you can't wipe clean, let's talk about what happened this past week, right?
Let's talk about America now. That is a professional segue, bro.
Let's talk about this conundrum we're kind of in and the things we've been seeing over the past week, and more specifically, like things have just kind of been building up, and it's just come to a head, and we're currently at the point where we're at right now. So I like to call this segment "Execute Order 66." So this goes out to my Star Wars nerds, my fellow Star Wars nerds out there. As you all know, Emperor Palpatine, when he was I want to say chancellor or senator at the time, you know, he enacted an order for all the stormtroopers to flip and attack all the Jedi and basically wipe them out. So yeah, it's a little far-fetched. Of course, there's not speeders and all that stuff, so we know it, but the Space Force is coming. So stay tuned. Stand by and stand back. So there you go.
Man, my man's coming hot today.
So all right, so you know, it was a week ago that the rioters, invaded and took over the U.S. Capitol building in D.C. With the intent to stop the certification process of Joe Biden's election, formally, kind of putting the nail in the coffin on anything that could say otherwise, right? So 5 lives were lost, including a former Air Force member, a female, died, 14 years in. And I think it was a lot of, all of this was unnecessary in my opinion, right? But it wasn't too far. It wasn't too hard to see it coming. And I remember telling Rina, hey, something is going to happen January 6th. Something is going to happen. I told you the same thing, Kyle. I said, something is happening. It's going to happen. And, she didn't really think it was going to happen. She didn't think, probably not, whatever. And sure enough, it came to light. So there's a lot of hard feelings on both sides, right? This country is divided. Looking at the election and everything that came with it, this country is divided like flush square down the middle. So what are some of the feelings that you guys have, and you, Rina? Like, what do y'all have on everything that happened last Wednesday? We'll start with you, ladies first.
Man, when I first saw it, I actually called him. I was at my mom's house visiting in Texas, and I couldn't believe my eyes that the rioters were able to get on the lawn, were able to crawl up the building, were able to get inside the building and not be shot at once, not be arrested, and the Black Lives Matter, who went in with no weapons, who were just walking the White House streets, were shot at with rubber bullets, were mazed, and none of that occurred. So that was very shocking. And then when I was talking to him, I realized that part of our constitutional rights is you can't overthrow the White House, and overthrow our Congress. And I guess it was allowed during that time until all the videos where people getting arrested after the fact. But so I initially was like, well, what are the rules? Because I'm unclear for what are the rules and what are our constitutional rights and what can we do? What aren't we allowed to do? What we'll be arrested for? What won't be arrested for? And how those lines cross between, race and gender, what is allowed. So that was it was overwhelming.
Okay. All right. Jeff, let's see what you got.
Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback on that. Yeah, my initial thought was, and exactly, now I'll come at it from, like Rina says, like, what are the rules? And like my initial thought was like, this is exactly the rules. This is the rules that have been in place for so long. And it's like, you got to tiptoe around this because like, to take it back, I'm a sports guy and there's certain things you can't talk about because then the other side starts arguing and you can't have a conversation. So like, I can't, when I say they, I just mean like the rioters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You say on this show, you can say whatever the hell you want, Jeff.
Right, but I'm saying people just start arguing and then they stop listening. But I'm like, those rioters, they know the rules. Like, did they look like they cared about
No,
they did,
not
they
in the
they
world.
knew the rules. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like when we saw, last summer, like everything that went on, like the rules were made up as they went. And then like it depended on what city you were in, depending on how stacked the police force was and things like that. These cats that went into the Capitol, they knew exactly the rules. Like they didn't look concerned at all.
No.
I would have never thought in my life, like I would have swore in my life that if I ever told somebody, you know what I'm going to do today, first of all, if I even said it out loud, I would have thought that like the Secret Service would be at my door. But if I would have been like, you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to bust the window out of the Capitol and I'm just going to go in. I wouldn't have thought I would have made it 2 feet. And these people were in there and they're not masked. And when I say mask, I don't even mean like health mask. I mean like covered up. They're snapping photos. I'm like, that's what stood out. I was like, they had no concern for repercussions whatsoever. And what else can you say? Then that's what they know. Like they knew the deal. They know what we talked a lot about it in the last year. And I know it's weird coming from a white dude in Ohio. Like, let's just put it out there. But they know, but they know what their contract is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's exactly what we saw. And I was like, they had no fear. That's what I saw. No fear. No fear of repercussions. And it's sad that like, people died doing that. And they're not even concerned about the human life. Like, they just no concerns whatsoever. Like they didn't go in and like come out in handcuffs. You know what I mean? To you know what I mean? Like to embolden their case. Like, we're willing to go to jail for this. They were just willing to go back to the Ramada and have a drink. I mean, there's reports all over Washington. They were just sitting around in hotel lobbies, just drinking and talking about it and yucking it up. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, they know what the deal is. That's what it really stood out.
Right. Yeah. And let me ask you this, Jeff. I'll take it a step. Do you perceive this, because there's a lot of folks that I've seen on the news, do you perceive this as white privilege being displayed in front of us?
It's okay. So here's the thing. This is what, and the answer is yes. But what I want to preface this by, this is one of the subjects I got asked. I did a show, when everything started in like, May and June and everything was going on. I got asked the same questions. But my problem is like the answer is yes. But when as soon as you say it, we talked about it when you open the show, half the people are like, okay, I can't listen to this anymore. Because as soon as you say, but what else do you call it? So what I started saying was like, that's why I try to word it just right. I'm like, these people know the advantage that they have, because if I say white privilege, and believe me, I would be as honest as I can. I'll tell everybody I live in that world. I could take full advantage of it. Like, I'm a white dude that lives in a white community in the middle of Ohio. Nobody like suspects me of anything. Nobody harasses me of anything. Like, so you know what I mean? Like, it's real. But when I say it, then it's like, then all I see all over TikTok is like, I never heard of it. Like, yeah, you have. Like, we all know our contract. Like, if you don't think that I get the benefit of the doubt a lot, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the truth. So yes, the answer is yes. We might as well just talk about it. It is absolutely 90% on what that was. So what else could it be?
No, I mean, and I appreciate your honesty on it, man. And
yeah.
Call it what it is. I definitely appreciate that. All right, Kyle, jump in. What you got?
I'll start the conversation off by saying 0 fucks given. It was zero fucks given. Like Karina said, like Jeff said, and I'll go in, and I know Jeff and dude, with your honesty and what you just said, it's like I'll touch on, that, they knew what they could get away with and what they couldn't get away with. And they pushed the envelope far. They pushed it, they opened it, did whatever they wanted to do. And it was just like, we're going to show you what we can do. And the thing that got me the most is when all the information prior to it happening and after it happened, like they knew that something was going to happen.
Yep.
And the thing that got me is that after 9/11, the security measures that are in place, that should have never happened.
Right.
That should have never happened, because after 9/11, like even on a military installation, and being, I'll put it in terms that Kelly, you can understand. Karina, you can understand. Jeff, I don't know if you've ever been on a military base,
No,
but it's like the
I
flight
have.
line.
Yeah.
You know the flight line, like eating pavement. Like if you cross that red line, like that should have been the first step to ending it all. You know, it should have been somebody should come through, put some people down on the pavement, but you know, to go further into it, it just seemed kind of like it was an inside job almost. You know, it seemed like it was some people like you know on the For What It's Worth when Dave Chappelle goes about the grape drink and the grape juice, and he was like, you know, white people don't get the same, we don't get the same formula as you get. Like it was almost like they knew something we didn't know. Like, and we talked about this, like, you know, and it's almost it's scary to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, and it's almost like, you know, non-brown people who get, I don't know if it's a channel, I don't know if it's a ham radio somewhere where they get the information that we don't get. Because like Karina said, when the Black Lives Matter protests happened, man, they were in force, they were on the steps, they were in rank and file order, ready to go with new, like I was telling you, Kelly, with new Wally X's on, with new helmets on, with new gaiters on, with new vests on. Everything was brand new. We have been deployed. We know what the old equipment looks like. We know what the new equipment looks like. They brought in the new stuff. You guys got to look good because it might go down. You know, so just to you know come to an end on what I'm saying. It's just like I just felt it. To me, it was scary and it was disheartening, and you shouldn't be able to do that, pretty much.
So Kyle, you brought up a good point in one of your posts. You said there's 10 military installations around DC, not one responder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I later found out is that they have to be called. And it was eerie. It almost seemed, because I'm a big JFK buff, conspiracy theory person. I like learning about that. But it's like they have to be called. And basically they were told to stand down. Is, you know, like DC Metro and whoever else, we can handle it. But you and I talked about it, and not even the park rangers or whoever else showed up.
Yeah.
Like nobody.
But then again, and then you also look how many off-duty plainclothes, you know, either agents or cops, or you know, you always got those heroes in the grocery store or in the mall. Not one stood up to try to stop it. Which is like go ahead, Jeff.
No. I was going to say that is a great point, because like, once again, like, you know, that's why I'm on the show is my perspective. Like, that's the group I live with. You're right, man. These commandos, the Rambos, I call them. And I it sounds disrespectful. It can be whatever. Like, these guys, like, as civilians, are always ready. You know what I mean? Like, just in case, like, they're there. That's a great point, man. Where was that?
Right.
And we're talking about, man, we're talking about protecting the Capitol and like the Capitol, man.
I know, right? I mean, it sounds crazy to say it, but I mean, you say it.
They kind of, what it showed other countries is that, I mean, you can just pose as any one of them and you can trade. Like, there's
a lot of countries that look like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and here's what we've been taught. Like, I should say I've been like, this is basically, I grew up like, you know, the brown people that live in the magic desert or whatever, they're the ones you got to worry about. And what we find out is like, no, that's not how things, you know, that's not how things go. But like, so like this whole benefit of the doubt thing that we give to people climbing up walls into the Capitol.
One of them Spider-Man, like hanging out.
Right?
Look, when it was no need to climb a wall. It was no need to climb the wall.
You just walk in.
Yeah, clearly you could just walk in, but you were repelling and stuff. Yeah, it was wild, man. It was so wild.
Hey, look, but Nicolas Cage has gotten into the White House on many occasions in National Treasure, so it's easy. I mean,
it turns out it really is that easy. Like, and I hate, like, let's I want to put out there the total, like, it's very upsetting that people lost their lives. And I'm sure that there were people in that building, like, genuinely scared for their life.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I thought about this today when I was thinking about the show, and I'm like, I don't care what you think, or not you guys, but like anybody thinks about lawmakers. We know they're flawed, but they're not every one of them's not the worst human on earth.
Right.
And they, like, their place of work was attacked.
Yes.
Like, and we look, like everybody looks at it now of like, yeah, they were in there wandering around, stealing shit, sitting at people's desk. But man, if you work at, like, I don't care if it's an insurance company, if it's an accounting firm, if 14, 15, 100 times the number of people that you are come in, man, that's really scary. Like, you are scared, you're fearing for your life. Like, so for everybody to take it so lightly, like it is absolutely, like, Rena brought it up, man. Like, other countries are looking like, when we see that in another country, like, you guys know, as the military, you're like, okay, it might be time to go. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's overthrowing the Capitol in any other country in the world. That's a real thing. That's not, like, nobody goes like, it'll be fine. And it may not be. Right. That's the elephant in the room, right? It may not be fine.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this. So with all the training, this is another thing that got me. With all the training, the police that were in the Capitol building, and before I say this, and Jeff, you brought up a good point. Basically, those lawmakers, the senators, and all that are in the Capitol building, that's basically their second home, if not their home, because they spend more time there than at home.
Yeah. So
that was a violation. It really was a violation. Two, with all the training that you probably would have to be a Capitol Police or in that federal officer line of duty, why didn't you? Why weren't more shots fired? Is what I don't understand.
I have no idea.
I think there was a fear of escalation and collateral damage, casualties, and stuff like that. So I think that's why they did. I think because they knew that they knew the rule book, because the way they just walked in, they were so brazen and just unconcerned. They probably realized, like, I don't think these guys are afraid to fire back. I don't think it would have turned out the way that they had intended. You would have probably got a serious firefight or a riot or something, and it would have turned violent and ugly really quick.
But that's a great question, man.
So Roger said it was an inside job. Could have been.
Yeah,
and
I do think it, to some extent, like I said, it might have been an inside job, but that's just like us when we were doing convoys. It's like if we were being overrun, it's like somebody's gonna fire some shots. Somebody's gonna shoot something. Yeah. And if you get to the point where, okay, we're being overrun, okay, you retreat, you barricade yourselves in, you save your ammo. I guess you see the whites of their eyes, and then you go broke. I mean, but to me, like I said, it was just like it scares me, like I said, because it's like, dang, was everybody in on the joke? Like, was everybody in on the joke? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The scary part.
And I love your guys' perspective of it. That's what I've been waiting on, because you guys know the training, the scary situation. And that's God, man, you brought it up. There was never a point to where if something like, if you were being, under siege or attacked or whatever, there was probably never a point to where you're like, nah, I think they're harmless. Like, we're just going to let it go. That's not how, but I mean, that's a great point. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm not judging the police inside there. Like, I never accuse somebody of not doing their job or not knowing how, but the questions are there of like, maybe they did feel like that was the right decision. I don't know, but the question's there, and I don't understand. To me, that would have been a bloodbath, and I'm glad it wasn't. I am glad it wasn't. But to me, that's what I imagine. Like, if the three of us right now, the four of us, I guess Rena might want to be down with this. But, if we just go storm now, I assume that, like, it's not going to turn out well. I would never think that we're like, we'll just walk in, mess around with some shit, take some pictures, and go out. Like, we would never think that. Right. But now, that's how it goes, right?
Well, for the three of us, it won't be okay.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. 100% agree. I'm glad you said it, man. Like Kels knows me, man. I keep it 100.
Yeah, he does. So with that being said, now that the seed has been planted, right? So now it's shown it can be done. And now you're seeing, the National Guard has been called in. These guys are camping out inside the Capitol in the hallways, looking like they're trying to board a flight home from a long deployment. These guys look pissed off. Yeah. They're sitting in the hallways. You got an 8-foot wall built up in front of the Capitol building now. So I don't think they're ready for Inauguration Day. And I think it's the right thing to do. Preparation, because they clearly weren't prepared before. They didn't take the threat as credible before. And we saw what happened with that. So with all that being said, is President Trump to blame for what happened? We'll go with you first, Kyle.
That's a tough question. The easy answer probably would be yeah. I mean, but I think we're all to blame, because if we had all done what we should have done 4 years ago, we wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, I think that we were so sure that, and Kelly, you and I talk about this all the time. I mean, if you want an example of the American dream, and I hate to say it, look at Donald Trump. Look at Donald Trump. He basically, I mean, yes, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but he basically said, I'm going to be president. He became president. He didn't serve in the military. He went to West Point, I guess, or some
no, he didn't even do
school or something.
No. He went to Penn, man.
Whatever.
Well, he showed up. He was enrolled. I actually went to class.
Thank you. But he nothing, not a lawyer, no law. He's had failed businesses after failed businesses, and still came out on top. And basically still came out on top. So is that to say that I don't ever want to hear, you tell anybody they can't become anything they want to be, right? Because he clearly, if he takes anything away from this, it's that you can be anything you want to be. And getting back to your question, like I said, I think the blame lies on a lot of people that didn't do their civic duty. I mean, because we just didn't believe it, and I think that's the problem with us as Americans. A lot of stuff we get the warning on 9/11, Capitol building. We don't, right. It's not going to happen. And then it happens. And then it makes us look, and Jeff, you said it, Kelly, you said it, it makes us look weak. Yeah. And it makes us look like anybody can just waltz their ass up here and do what the fuck they want to do. And I hate putting it like that, but that's just the way that, to me, it looks. And it makes me fearful for my family, for my children, for just good people that I know, good Americans, good people in this country, that we're going to have to shoulder the load and possibly pick up arms and, like you say, Kelly, go to some civil war.
Yeah. I saw Brendan Roy. He put out something, with a comment, and he was saying that he missed the last part. He wanted to chime in. He said he didn't see what happened as white privilege. He saw a bunch of people led into a public building and largely being idiots and really violent. So that's just his take on. Appreciate you chiming in, Brendan, and as well as Rogers. So. And
Brendan is, like, I vouch for him. He's a good friend of mine. He really is a smart and thought out guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a antagonist. You know what I mean? He has a very broad view of things like that. But I think it, like, I even if you want to agree with everything that Brendan said up until the white privilege part, is the part that more people didn't die. And or even just get like ran over by a tank or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, why couldn't the privilege part is, why couldn't people wait to just run them over or hit them with whatever, or just hit, like, where were the batons? I mean, that's all we saw all summer was people just getting way, and not even, it was people of every race getting waylaid by batons. Like, that's the stuff that we didn't see. That was weird when you're talking about the nation's capital. I don't, and you guys brought it up earlier with 9/11. I assume things, as far as wandering into public buildings, I I didn't think it was like that now, especially with what I would imagine with the COVID-19 protocols is you don't wander into public buildings anymore. I could be wrong. Maybe we can go to the Capitol right now and walk around, but I don't think so. And that's where I think that changes. But Brendan is a thought out guy. Like, I always look into his viewpoints. I think the privilege part is like you didn't get hit in the skull with a baton for wandering around. Like, I think that's the difference to me.
So, Jeff, while you're on it, so do you think that President Trump is to blame for what happened?
Man, and I think I'm with Kyle. Like, as grown men, we hate to just say blame because then that lets people be scapegoats of what they're responsible for. But can I say that he was the catalyst? And also, you know what I mean? Because you say blame, they're like, I did what I want to do. But like, if you take advantage of your position and you're tapped into everything in the country, like, what people are thinking, what people are saying. Like, this dude is in the government. Like, he knows what's on Twitter. He knows what's on Facebook. He knows how these people congregate. He knows how they talk. And if you know how to light those flames and take advantage of that, and that's what you've done your whole life, that's how he got to where he is. He knows what people want to hear. He knows how to say it and all that. Like, I'm old enough that, like, I grew up with him as a whatever he was, just a public figure.
Right. He was the rich guy that everybody knew, right?
That's it. I mean, that's
the he was that guy back in the 90s.
So I guess, yeah. I mean, if on one side he's going to tell me he's the most powerful person in the world, and then you encourage this to happen, which I think we know he did. So then, yeah, I guess that it really is a blame, but I don't want to let the people that did it off the hook. Like, no, you got it. Like, he didn't make me do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I never thought about doing it. So I want people like grown adults to be responsible for what they did, but he was definitely a catalyst. You know what I mean? He lit that flame. He's been doing it for not even 4 years, probably 8 years, 10 years. Like, this is this guy's career. That's how his family built their fortune, was, oppressing minorities and stuff like that. It's documented. This stuff's real. Not to get off on, because here's what we do. Like, once I start going off on, then nobody listens anymore. Now it's a fight. You know what I mean? I try to avoid that, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
He's a habitual line stepper. That's what this dude is. So,
Yep.
All right. What do you think? You think we'll stick with it. Is he blamed for what we saw?
Not just him. And then, I mean, I hate, like I said, pointing the finger at him because he's the easiest one to point the finger at because he's the one hiding in the bunker on Twitter and stuff. But so I agree. I don't think he is solely the one to blame. I think he used his power, his position to influence, which, I mean, any of us could do that if we had that much influence. I mean, anybody could. I mean, I think Kim Kardashian influenced a lot of people to get butt implants and injections, right? So it's an influencer.
And real quick, I think that's a great point that you just made, because it is literally that simple. And I think that sounds funny when you say that, Rina, but I think you're 100% on how uncomplicated it is to influence people that want to be influenced. And now we're starting to get to the underlying thing here. So sorry to step in, but that was a great point.
Yeah, no. So, and I think those people, they need somebody, they need a leader. I mean, just like a lot of the ISIS followers, they needed somebody to follow. And Saddam Hussein was able to be that leader for them. So it's the same thing with, Donald Trump. So, but I do think, like I said, hold everybody else accountable to their actions. And they were the ones that actually went through there. We just watched it. So I would have never, I don't think in a million years, been brave enough to climb, break through the Capitol like that. So, but hopefully they get what's coming to them, any of the consequences.
Yeah, and we're seeing that, the punishment is, they're rounding these folks up. And, Kyle, I shared with you, and I showed you the video, the Goodfellas Layla montage, where they showed these folks being rounded up.
Oh, that's great. I got to see this.
Oh, yeah, I'll send it to you. But yeah, so yeah, it was the whole Layla. They were playing, and people are crying and getting rounded up. They're catching these on airplanes. They're catching them and at work. You're catching everybody, rounding them up, man. So, who's answering?
I'm glad you said that. Just real quick. And Jeff, you had said it earlier. Like, they weren't masked up, like bandito masked up. They were just walking around. And if there's any place in the world that, and I know facial recognition has not come full on. Maybe I'm wrong, but
We're not at
DC
Will Smith level.
is the springboard for facial recognition. It's a springboard.
Yeah.
So they knew, like, it's cameras. DC, what has most cameras? What per square?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Mhm.
Everywhere. If you can
In
get
the
away with
world,
you're Danny Ocean. That's who you are. If you can get away with some shit like that in DC.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know why people are acting surprised, but go ahead, man. Go. I just want to jump in right quick.
I look at it as like, and Karina said it's influence, right? And I listen to John Maxwell, and I'm telling you the one thing that John Maxwell has said, and he's one of the leading voices in leadership, is that that leadership is nothing but influence, nothing more, nothing less. And I'm telling you, and I hate to say it, but in his realm, President Trump is a hell of a leader in his realm. He can galvanize people. He can
senators and Congress,
man. He can basically have his influence is so far reaching. You have people who we've elected to positions in the House, in the Senate, and they're afraid to go against him. He's not in power forever, but just the fact that he could influence and he's so entrenched. It's a combination of both, because he's so tied. He is the face of the GOP as it stands right now. He is the face of that. And anybody with any type of political aspirations going forward, you are not going to cross that dude. And
that's that fear.
And that is cowardly. That's cowardly. And if you're not there to do the job, and do the job for the people that elect you, you got to get the hell on, because all you're going to do is make it worse. So I don't think he's to blame. I think the people to blame are the people who allowed him to get to this point. The people sitting in those offices and sitting in those buildings. You allowed this to happen by turning a blind eye to all the shit that he was trying to pull, when you could easily be like, nah. But now you want to do it 14 days out, 13, 14, 15, or how many days out. Now all of a sudden you want to grow a backbone and be like, nah, man, this is wrong. This is wrong. It's easy to pull up when the ship is sinking. It's easy to jump then. But when everything was looking like, they were riding high and pulling their stunts, you turn the blind eye to it. So I blame all those people sitting in that chamber, sitting in that gallery. All those people are to blame for this. And, so that's how I look at it. So the takeaway from this, right? What is the takeaway, and what should be the punishment for those that participated in this?
I'll go like real quick. As far as the takeaway, like just as far as a national security thing, like they need to like look at that, and then we need to look at how we need to start looking at how we treat online congregations and threats and things like that. Because one thing we kind of skipped over was there was at least, the last I heard, there was at least 2 pipe bombs that were supposed to go off. That's what I heard. Okay. Right. So I wasn't there, but I'm not the bomb squad, but I heard that there was 2 pipe bombs that could have went off. There was other things, like we don't know how bad this was supposed to be. And so maybe I know we have freedom of speech, but we all grew up on but you don't have a freedom, to yell fire kind of thing. Maybe maybe we need to treat ourselves, which stinks, as much as we do the rest of the world, as far as take these things serious. If you get on TikTok, it was funny. They were talking about January 6th for a long time on TikTok. Right. You know what I mean? So, and then when it happened, you're like, oh, and we're going to see on January 20th if it's the same. And it's
going to happen, man.
As far as a punishment,
sure, but if I was a betting man, I don't want to be kicking on our door.
And but as far as repercussions, I just want whoever they find in charge or whatever, I just want them tried to exactly what the standards are. I don't want anything changed. I just want them to they did this. They serve trial for this. And if they get punished by this many years, I just want it straight across the board, because if you change anything, then all of a sudden you've got a whole well, wait a minute. The first thing you're going to hear is I saw a skateboard thrown through the window of Target. Why aren't they? Why be? But that's what they say. Nobody cared when they were burning down Burger King. Well, that's not the Capitol building. These are 2 different things, and I don't agree with that either. You shouldn't damage public property, but these are 2 different things. But that's what they'll say. Why isn't that person that threw a brick going to Leavenworth for 10 years or whatever? So I just want it to be whatever the statutes are. I want them to follow it.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody else want to weigh in before we move on?
I mean, I think, like Jeff said, look at the evidence, see, what's going on. And the one thing that really is funny is, to me, is these veterans that thought it was cool to go ahead and do whatever they did, take all their benefits, take it, and make and pay some of it back. Like that's what's really gonna hurt. Like, I had a supervisor tell me, is like, you don't really hurt somebody until you start hurting their pockets. And I didn't understand. I was senior airman at the time. I didn't understand what that means until I became a staff. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And just really, really get a handle on what's going on. Like, really, make sure, like Jeff said, if we're getting threats, if they're online now I know the security community, or what's it called, the set, what's it, NAS whatever, security, whatever, that they're doing their job. They're making sure that they're monitoring these sites. They're getting all this information. They got people the government has infiltrated every other organization on earth known to man. So why don't they have somebody on the inside here? Okay, to get the information.
How did they not spoil this guy?
Somebody, that's a hell of a secret, right?
So get that under control. If the inauguration needs to be inside in a bunker, so be it. Because these guys don't need to get off before they start. Because we need a lot of change, a lot of healing in this country. People are hurting. People need stuff, man. They need help, and we need to get this thing under control and just get back to being who we are, instead of looking at somebody else because they don't look like you, and wondering, who they're with. Are you a Trumper? Are you cool, or whatever.
Right.
So let's just get back to being, who we are. Put all the BS aside, man, and just get back to being a great country. And that's my takeaway.
And I want to piggyback on something Kyle said there real quick. He brought up, like, it doesn't matter. The inauguration stuff doesn't matter. It's about like improvements and stuff like that. And that's what's important. It's not about the pageantry. I do not care about parades. I do not care about waving flags. I don't care about any of that. I care about, like, the job at hand. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think we've seen, like, we've kind of got away from that. Like, the expression of it has become more important than the actual, enforcing of it. Like, everybody, you guys have seen what the symbol that the American flag has sort of become in the last 3 years. I don't think you're numb to that. You guys can't be. And we've all seen how it's been marketing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But we got to get that stuff doesn't matter. It's not about the pageantry and the show. So, I just wanted to, that was a great thought, Kyle.
Did you have anything you want to add?
As far as the punishment, what should the punishment be? I think it should be strict. If it would have been anybody from a different country, it would have been a terrorist attack, right, on the Capitol. So what do we hold our terrorists to? And why can't we hold to our own people as terrorists? You broke into a Capitol building in front of everybody. Like, I'm sorry. I think it needs to be the toughest punishment, to hold an example, so that other people don't come here and think, oh, I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist and I'm going to walk out. It's okay for me to do that. No, you treat you like a terrorist. We would have done the same thing if somebody from, like I said, somebody from a different organization, a terrorist group, we would have done the same thing to them. So I guess hold them accountable.
All right. So that wraps up the Execute Order 66 portion. There's a spirited conversation. So, at the end of the day, it happened, and we're still looking for answers, right? So it's going to take some time. I still don't think this is behind us by any stretch. I still think more is coming. It's scary, but I hate to say it, our country is still one of the youngest countries in the world, right? We're still going through the pains and the ups and downs of who we're going to be in the long term. So I hate to say it, but in history, this is just another footnote in our history of who we are as a nation. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we're just puppies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. People forget that, but you're very. That's a great point, man. You guys are the best. I'm telling you.
So I'm gonna touch on Trump impeached again. So today the House of Representatives voted to impeach President Trump for inciting insurrection with a Democratic majority vote of 232 to 197 to Republicans. So the significance behind this was that 10 Republicans actually voted for it, where there was projected there'll be only 5, so they doubled that number with I believe she's a senator from Wyoming, Liz Cheney, the third most powerful Republican in Washington, or in the House, voted for it to be passed. So, while it was passed through the House, it still has a ways to go because it has to pass through the Senate, which is not going to be easy. And more than likely, probably going to be shot down because that's where the trial and everything has to happen there. A lot of people still supporting President Trump in the Senate. Mitch McConnell, he said there needs to be punishment, but the process is going to play on. He's not going to call back, the Senate to work on this. I don't think they're due back until March, if I'm mistaken. So it's going to be a little while. I could be wrong, but it's going to be a while before they reconvene. So with that being said, the impeachment and all this stuff, President Trump has 7 days left in office, right? Is it necessary at this point to even go through this? So
does taxpayer dollars pay for that trial?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Lord.
Yeah. So with that being said, like I said, so is it necessary at this point? The man's a week out. Get him out. Is it necessary? I'll start with this. I think it's too late. I think right now we are so divided, and I think it's just needling at this point. I personally don't think that President Trump has a chance of being reelected or not reelected, running again, because I think with what happened and the way he's kind of flipped on his base, I think that people are kind of hip to it now, and they're like, you know what, man, you told us to run up in here and do this, and people are turning, and you're seeing his own constituents, his own cabinet, all these people are turning on him now, and they're dropping out, and I think it's going to be hard for him to do it. Now, what I do believe is that we'll see another President Trump type figure coming in, but it's going to be wrapped in a way prettier package where you won't see it coming until it's there. So I do think that. But as far as this happening, no, why waste the money? They let him get through to this point. Hell, just let the man have his victory lap on the way out. Why mess with it now? You didn't give a damn before. You didn't give a damn with the stuff with Russia. You didn't give a damn with the stuff with Charlottesville. You didn't give a damn with anything else with the Black Lives Matter movement. So why care now? So let the man go on and have it. They elected him. Whoever voted for him, whoever let him slide with all his BS, you let him do it. So don't try to slap the wrist now. So.
But if you let him walk out, and what I read today, he walks out with all of his benefits. He gets a nice benefit package at the end of it where, yes, he could run again if he wanted to, if he had enough support followers. What makes you think that those numbers are not going to go up? He's not going to have more followers after this. He loves Twitter. Mm-hmm. I know he's banned, but he might find it. I think there is another one.
Right.
And then, the Secret Service, he gets to have those for the rest of his life.
But he wasn't
for the rest of his life.
He up until a week, right? Up until today. I mean, there's no call for him to be gone. They tried it before, but you let him get to this point now. He finished the job.
I say just strip him from those benefits.
Yeah. Okay.
He doesn't get his pension.
Well, I mean, I would say the benefits will hurt more. The
Secret Service. That's what he wants.
Right.
The Secret Service following him around all over the place. What if you don't have it and you go back to the real life?
Ooh,
just saying.
Boy, he can't go back to New York. They're gonna be waiting on his ass in New York. It's a wrap. So, what y'all got?
I'll just go ahead. Rena took it. That's my biggest thing is that, and here's the thing. I'll let them make their own argument. All I've heard for 4 years is that Mr. Trump has all this money. He gave it up to serve his country. So go ahead, strip his benefits and everything. He's going to be just fine. He'll be just fine. He's got all the money and everything he needs. He doesn't need the Secret Service and the benefits. Melania doesn't need her pension. First Lady gets a pension too.
What does she do? Where is the?
I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just telling you the facts, man. But I'm saying so why worry about it? He'll be fine. He's got all this money that he's always said he had. So just go ahead and go through with it. Take the benefits, save the taxpayer money. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the Secret Service. He can fund his own security police. He's got plenty. He's got dudes with horns and no shirts and
no shirts.
Lots of camouflage. Like he's fine. He's fine.
Let them keep him secure. Let him be their security.
Yeah, but Kels, you honestly, that's the first time I've heard somebody make sense to where I'm like, yeah, it's a good point. But then, your wife's just slightly smarter. So I'm leaning towards. Go ahead and go through with it.
I always liked you.
Go ahead and go through with it. He can run the talk show circuit and and take the money from his base as much as he wants. That's the American way. They love capitalism. It's great. Let him have it, and he can do it all on his own, and he'll be just fine.
All right, Kyle, what you got?
I mean, basically, like everyone else said, one of these things has to happen, and not to mention, like you said, Kels, like New York is waiting on him. So whatever happens, if they impeach him, well, he's still gotta stay in trial. So he's staying in trial somewhere after this is over.
We'll see.
I just think that honestly, like, they should strip him of his benefits. He should be like we say in the military, you gotta make an example. When that one guy that you remember Airman Snuffy, remember he got kicked out for huffing glue behind the wash rack? Hey man, don't huff glue. Like, he got kicked out. Man.
It happens. Hey, yo, Jeff, it happens.
Yeah, that's like the general term for airman is Airman Snuffy. So it's like,
oh really?
He got kicked out, man. They sent him home with nothing. It happens. So make it so he can't run again, and make it so he's stripped of his benefits. And he, like you said, he has all this money.
And that's
fine, right? That's just how I look at it.
His influence is still going to be felt far beyond the next 4 years because he has that money.
Oh yeah,
it, man. Nice. Hey, what did Saul on Pineapple Express say? The monkey's out the bottle now, man. We can't stop it, and there's going to be another, and there's going to be another, and So I don't want to see him have those benefits, but if we as a people. And the people in position to do something about it didn't do it. Well, hell, shit. I mean, I was done with it, man. I mean,
we weren't in office. I blame Congress.
But we elected the people who are in office. So it is on us. It is our fault. So, I hate to say it. Shame on us. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up with the last topic, right? Which way is up? Great Richard Pryor movie, right? So great soundtrack as well.
They're all great.
So who are we, right? Who are we now on January 13, 2021, after everything that's happened? Who are we?
Oh, man, that's a tough one, man. No, seriously, like I didn't.
Leaves. She's taking a good chunk of that money, Linda. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that like for years, man, I thought we were really going one way, and it was totally another. It's a disturbing. I think we started with talking about the attack on the Capitol, and that kind of bottled everything up. It's a disturbing thing to realize, like the people, like in my community, this is from my dome that I live in, obviously, like from what came out of the woodwork, and then everybody just couldn't wait to say this and say that. I've been completely shocked over the last few years. I won't say 4 because then once again everybody then they stop listening, but I've been really stunned at how people really felt, like people that I like deeply thought I shouldn't say thought I knew, like know very well. It's been really disturbing to be honest with you, what the things that they've held on to for all these years and the things that they really truly believe in and think they have to put up with, and it's a constant and I'll just be 100% honest. I tell everybody this: when you look like me, it's like you're in camouflage. People will say things to you that they're not going to say to you guys. That's just the absolute truth of it. But it still sickens me. Not, obviously not as offensive. You know what I mean? You guys know exactly what I'm saying. But they'll say things to me that, like, just because they think I look a certain way or I do a certain job. So, like, I've heard things, and the people have said over the years. That's why the Capitol building didn't surprise me, because they're always talking about these things, you know what I mean? But we're not as far along as I thought we were as a country.
Mm-hmm.
But, I felt better about it after November. You know what I mean? And I'm not, and this isn't a like Biden's going to save everything. That is not what that election was about. That's a whole different show. But I felt better about it. Everything that Georgia did, like watching Georgia that night was, that really made me, feel good. And working with, people from all around the country all the year. Like I still believe that mainly what Kel said, like we're a very young country and we're slowly, very, very, very slowly going in the right direction. And I've said it before, I won't see the change in my lifetime, especially as far as like, racism, oppression, the double standards. I won't see it in my lifetime. I'm 45 years old. I'm not going to see the end of it. But if it gets even 1% better, every year, I'll accept that at this point. It's not magic like we learned in 8th grade history class. Like everything didn't end in 1865. Like everything wasn't fine after that. Right. And so I know it's going to take a long, long, long time, but I still believe that we're barely headed in the right direction. But I still think we're trending up slowly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, which way is up? I don't know. Which way is up? I just know we want to go forward, like Jeff said, and moving forward with new ideas and, moving towards something that looks equal. I don't know what that is. I don't know how we get there, but I guess having conversations like this, being able to talk clearly and voice your opinions and have everybody, it's like I said, Jeff, you said some amazing things. I'm glad you came on the show, and we're just, your opinion, and your opinion is valid, and we want to hear it. And I think that's what we bring out in this show, is being able to hear everybody and on equal terms. We're not judging anybody's opinion. We want to hear those opinions and we want to move forward. And I think that's what everybody needs to do in order for us to gain some sort of acceptance of each other, is learn and listen to each other instead of being the first one to antagonize another. So I think that's how we move forward. I don't know, up is heaven.
All right. What you got, Kyle?
I don't know. I think that we have some positive people in positive places. I think that we are trying to make strides, and we're making strides in the right direction. We just have to be able to keep that same energy, and not just because something good happened that we just get comfortable. I think everybody has to be able to continue the work, that was started by, whomever, if it's good for everybody, hey, let's keep it going. Let's just not stop because, it's like, well, you got what you wanted. No, we need everybody to be on one accord, because, I like having conversations with different people of different backgrounds, different races, and all that stuff, and not just, staying in the same box. I think, especially being from the South, and I just like the fact that if we're doing everything we're supposed to do and making it better for especially our children, like Jeff said, we probably won't see it, but if it's better for our children and their children, that's the goal. Because, like if we were to pass away tomorrow, we've at least put the foundation for our children to where they can say, Mom or Dad tried to do their best to give me something to go forward with. So I think, we're trying to do the right thing. We all fall short as a country, as people, but I think we'll get it together, is what I think, and we'll move forward.
Okay. All right. I see us as a reflection of exactly what we are. We are a nation divided. We are a nation that can't get along on anything. We can't agree on anything. We are a nation that, because we have pursued and pursued and pursued, we forgot how to live and how to treat people. And we have gotten so far from the idea, which in reality really wasn't for all of us. That idea wasn't established for all of us. But we were sold the dream. And I think that dream now, it's starting to be shown that it really wasn't for us, and it's really not achievable. You can get a little taste of the action. You got to consider people of color. We weren't even considered a full person when it came to the voting process. So I don't think that we're included in this grand plan. And I think because now that the curtain has been pulled back and we can see exactly what that plan is, it's scaring people. Like, oh shit, they know what the plan is right now. So now we got to switch it up. I think, the greed, the lies, the corruption, everything that's been pushed on our society, it's come back and it's bit us in the ass. Because now you're looking at, for an example, the drug problems back in the 80s and 90s. It was only, it was a drug problem and an issue in Black communities. Oh man, hey.
An epidemic, wasn't it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was like, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, this and this. Well, when it enters suburban America, all of a sudden it's a problem. Why? Different face. Same problem, different face. So I think we are exactly what we've bred. We are reaping what we sowed, and it's come back and bit us in the ass. And I honestly think it's going to take something drastic to fix it. It's going to take something drastic, even if it's fixable. But yeah, we are who we are. And it's kind of upsetting because you even look at it from a military standpoint, right? I look at it from, I served and protected an idea and all that stuff that came with it that didn't even include me. And there's some things I'm sure, Kyle, you've done that you're not proud of in the military. Things I've done I'm not proud of. But we fed into that. And I just think it's a shame that, I'm grateful that we see it a little bit differently now. But as far as like coming together, I think now we're so far gone. I don't think that healing is going to happen. I think we are so deeply divided. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see our country split again into a North and South type situation where you want to live under this type of rule, we want to live under this type. And we are the divided states of America versus the United States. That's just what I see. Can it be fixed later down the line? Possibly. But like you said, Jeff, I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime. I think our ancestors have been fighting this same fight for generations. And with the technology, with the education and all that stuff, you mean to tell me we haven't figured this out yet?
Yeah.
It's a long fight, bro. It's a long fight. And I don't know. We have influence.
I'm sorry. I've said it a lot of times, Kels. I'm like, we're getting to the point to where like we've all like almost everybody's been alive long enough to know that this stuff is wrong. And that's what scares me. Like, whatever, if like someone that was born in 1850, like, man, they had real changes to make and real things to learn and stuff like that. Man, if you were born later than like the 60s, like you don't really have an excuse. You know what I mean? You were taught and you either chose to raise your kids a certain way or you taught to be a certain way. And that's the scary part, is that there's so much of America choosing this, even though they know the truth. Like all the information's out there, you know what I mean? And people still are like choosing to be a certain way. Like, and that's what, me and my wife talk about this a lot, like, in the summer during the riots and everything, like, and you touched on it, like how it's not, the contract's not the same. Like the difference between like us, like we all think the same way, but like when we all go to Walmart tomorrow, we don't look the same way. And that is a ridiculous divide. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like we all four of us walk in, they think four different things about us, whether it's a woman, the color of your skin, a haircut, whatever. And it's crazy because if we're all sitting having beers, we'd probably have the same conversation. Like, and that's something that people are choosing not to fix because they know the truth. You know what I mean? Like people know reality. Like nobody grew up in a time to where they were like you say, the laws were, stacked against you. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. Like, even women weren't treated as equals. Like really, not even now they're not, you know what I mean? But even legally, into the 1900s, you know what I mean? Like this is the foundation that we were built on was flawed, and, we slowly fix it. But we got a long way to go, man. I know it sounds like we're bad mouthing America, but we're not. I think we're
true. And you have to look in the mirror. And the thing is, we sell this idea to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we got our shit together. You come over here, you can do something. No, you can't. No, you can't, because there is plans and all these other things set in order to make it to where you can get a piece of the action.
Yeah.
You won't reach that mountaintop like that percent, that small percent. So
No, I'm gonna reach the mountaintop. I don't know about you, but I'm going.
And you know what? I think you got the best shot. I think you got the best shot. Like I've been slipping and rolling down the hill my whole life. Like I've given up. Like I'm gonna find like base camp, like first base camp, and just get drunk and just hang out there for the rest of the duration. But can I bring up one thing real quick? I promise. Yeah, since we were having this conversation tonight, I know this. This will kind of break some of the no, I shouldn't say tension, but you know what I mean. This be lighten it up a little bit. She promised me that I would bring up the dude in the horns.
Yeah.
That was demanding the organic food.
Right.
And just how they're supposed to be so thick skinned. And she made me bring up the story that he's crying in jail because he needs organic food. And his mom.
You better eat them saltines and shut the hell up.
Yeah, exactly. She made me bring it up, man. So I had to throw that out there.
From Florida, man. I honestly think so. I think he's a Florida man, as they like to say. So,
man, they're different. Y'all different down there. I'm telling you.
We got some different folks. I don't want to offend Floridians. Florida. Yeah, Florida is cool.
I think he's from Arizona.
Was he from Arizona?
Oh, well, that's West Coast Florida. Everybody knows that. You either go to Arizona or you go to Florida when you retire.
That's right, for retirement. That's right. So, hey, good conversation, everybody. I'm very, very happy with how this turned out. Jeff, man, let's see. Hold on. No quinoa. That's right.
That's my mom, man. She loves you guys. Yeah, she's my biggest fan, without a doubt.
I appreciate her. She's always on the show and always
supporting. She's the best.
Appreciate you chiming in. And this is a quinoa-free show. I'll let you know that's great.
I like some quinoa, man.
Yo, that stuff tastes like cardboard shavings. I'm not.
Oh no, my wife makes some quinoa stir fry. Yeah, that shit is fire. I'm telling you.
So look, hey, before we let you go, everybody, where can we find y'all out in the World Wide Web and social media? So, Kyle, go ahead, man. Where can we find you at? Where you active at? Where you do your daily?
You can find me on Facebook at Kal Dawkins, and you can find me on Instagram, I believe, at Kal Expo 336, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. All right, Rina.
You can find me at home because I work from home now.
Yeah, you can't tell people that nowadays. They might just walk in.
Oh yeah, you can just walk into somebody's house.
You can do whatever you want now.
All right, Jeff, where you at, man? Where can the listeners you at?
It's a long list, but basically go to Off the Ball Network. We started a sports network last summer. It's going great. The guys are awesome. Go there, check out my stories, check out all of our stories. Jeff Needs Sports is one of my podcasts. That's obviously my sports podcast. I do an Ohio State podcast for any Ohio State fans out there. And then Jeff Needs Help is starting to ramp up here soon because football season's tailing off. Kels will be on there. You know what? All you guys will be on there. Well, Jeff needs help with everything like this. I really I really like what we did tonight.
Yeah,
it makes me feel good. And what I want to say is I know it sounds crazy, but I really, it does mean a lot to me that you guys trust me to come on and talk about these things. You know what I mean? Like, we don't all look the same or live in the same place and all that. But anytime somebody invites me on one of these important shows, it really means a lot to me that they trust my point of view and, you know what I mean, and my honesty. So I just want to say thanks to Kels, man. I'm sorry, the invite was awesome, and you guys were great tonight. So you go check out Jeff Needs Help, everyone.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
You're always, one more thing, Jeff. When you do your
good.
Hey, Jeff. You do your basketball. Once we get into the thick of things with this news that just broke on basketball, please have me and Kels on the show, please.
Oh no, I tell you what, guys, I'm being honest. We have got honestly, we probably got 10 of the, I mean, I am not exaggerating. We're some of the best basketball minds. Like, so we run a chat all the time, right? And we're constantly discussing this stuff. And these guys are on it. They're writing articles. I would love to get you guys, as part of the network, and we'll have you on some of the shows to talk. Like, say me and Kels did the Bulls show last year, which was a blast. But yeah, I just saw it. I was at the barbershop and I saw the news. My guys, like my Twitter feed is off that, is going crazy. So yeah, go follow Off the Ball on Twitter. It's Off the Ball Network on Twitter. Go follow that. Interact with us. We would absolutely love to have you guys on the show sometime to talk about it. The NBA guys, cool. The NBA guys in the network are, man, they're next level. They're really smart guys and do a good job. So we would absolutely love to have you guys as part of it.
That's what's up. All right. So shout outs, final thoughts. What we got around the horn. So we'll start with Jeff. Go ahead. What you got?
Man, basically, man, just honestly, like everybody touched on it tonight. Have conversations with people, like not people that think like you. Just have a conversation with anybody. Talk these things out. Don't one of the biggest mistakes in my lifetime is that you don't talk about politics, religion, or or family or any of that. And I think that, and I look back now, and that was a mistake. And I think back to I'm a sports guy, so I think back to when Colin Kaepernick, when his plight began, when he was with the 49ers, and that was one of those things like, oh, we just don't talk about that. That's not a sports thing. One of the biggest mistakes in my career as a sports podcaster, and I don't do that anymore. Those are the things we should have been talking about, because once you start having a conversation, we just proved it. We took an hour and had a great conversation of people that aren't even in the same room, and got a lot done in an hour. So yeah, just talk to people about things that are uncomfortable. Have uncomfortable conversations with people, and you'll be amazed at it. You'll find that gray area, and that's how we're going to get by. Like, I think at best right now, America can find a gray area.
Yeah, that's what we can at least hope for. At least a starting point. So
absolutely.
Well said. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, of course, just my mom Linda that loves your show. My wife Alicia, biggest supporter of mine, and then of course the Off the Ball Network, man. You guys are awesome, and I know you'll watch this and you'll like it. And we're gonna have Kyle and Kels on, and Rina if she would like to be on. She might. I don't know what her sports
fan, just like Kyle. There's nothing really to talk about. But,
I tell you what, on the Off the Ball Network, man, everything. So. Yeah, just that's it. And Brandon Roy, I talked to him last night. We did a show, and he knew we was going to do the show tonight. He's a fan of Curtis, yeah, there you go. And Brendan's a smart, thought out guy, but he also doesn't. He's got his own opinion. He doesn't back down to anybody, but he doesn't push his thoughts on anybody. Everything's well thought out. So go check out Brendan Roy and Dads Worldwide. Really smart, thought out show. So.
All right, Brendan, we're coming for you. We're gonna get you on the episode. Appreciate you.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome.
Good. All right, Kyle, what you got?
Just want to say, man, thank you for having me on. It's been a minute. It was great to finally talk to Jeff. See Karina. See you, because all we do is talk. We don't FaceTime because we're men. So. Yeah, really just, this was a conversation that needed to be had. I think that, like Jeff said, the uncomfortable conversations need to be had. But I just want to say, shout out to you guys for making this possible. Shout out to you guys for thinking of me, putting me on again. I really enjoyed it. Giving a shout out to our friend Bernard. His birthday is tomorrow.
Hey,
so happy birthday to him. Early birthday.
Freshly retired too.
Shout out to my wife. Fresh 40. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to my kids, my parents. And just thankful to still be here, because a lot of people did not make it through 2020. So
true that.
You guys said some great things. Thank you, like I said, for being on the show. I really valued your opinions and everything we talked about. It was good. And to you for putting everything together. He actually has some good news. I'm not going to say anything now because I don't think he can release anything, but just pushing, what Jeff said is like pushing the envelope and, and going in there and making change, uncomfortable, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable conversations to push change. and he made some change in his company. So hopefully he can release some news soon. And so just, keep working hard. I think put yourself in positions. You're already making change right now, listening to the Culture Marauders.
Hey,
That's right, Marauders, baby.
shameless plug. Shameless plug.
And shout out to my family. We went through some rough times recently. Kyle hit it on the head. Not everybody made it out of 2020, and so
Amen to that.
Family, we lost our grandma, our rock. She was 90 years old, but she was a powerhouse. She was a woman. She's an amazing woman. Lost my godmother as well, who was also in politics, and she, really made some positive change in San Antonio Independent School District, and had a lot of influence. And so when I was at those funerals and everybody had amazing things to say about these people, I really looked at myself and what do I want people to say about me? And I think we all kind of need to look at ourselves, and at the end, what is your gravestone going to say? What are people going to say when your time is up? What are they going to say, remember about you? So reflect on that and try to make sure that you give this life your fullest.
All right. Well, I can't follow that up. So
Nope. You got no chance, man.
All right.
You definitely outkicked your coverage.
Thanks, Jeff. Now I got to hear that all night. So, but no, I want to thank all of y'all, man. Especially, Jeff, Kyle, Jeff, we talk sports, primarily, but you're smart on the mic when it comes to sports. So I had no doubt you'd be smart when it came to this stuff. And, I know you had some stuff you want to drop on us. Very, very, value-added info you put out there, man, in a different perspective. So thank you for coming on, man. You're an OG Marauder. You're always welcome, man.
Absolutely. I take great pride in that. I do. I honestly do.
I appreciate it. Kyle, we talk damn near daily. So I appreciate you jumping on, man. I know it wasn't easy, trying to find the time. You're a busy man. Thank you for coming on, man, and we have on in front of everybody. So thank you for that, man. And I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow. So with that, but and then my sidekick, my Whitney to my Bobby, the Bonnie to my Clyde. I'm not gonna say Beyonce. I don't want to give her too much credit, but but Rina, just having conversations. We sit and have conversations, sitting out in the backyard, just over any and everything, right? So
yeah,
she keeps me grounded. When you watch the Macy's Day Parade and you got the people being drugged by the floats and stuff like that, she's that person for me. I tend to go off, but she holds it down and drags me back down to earth. So
a strong arm.
So she makes me think of things differently and see things differently, and hopefully that's conveyed through this show, the way we do this show, and it's a lot of fun. So shout out to the healthcare workers out there, the essential workers, the people taking the chance on this vaccine. I need y'all to show and prove so I can get the nuts to go in there and do it myself. Shout out to the listeners. Thank you for tuning in. I know teachers too, and the listeners as well. Y'all could have been doing anything else on a Wednesday night. I don't know if The Bachelor's on, could be. I don't know, but there's a lot of other things out there y'all could be doing, but you chose to view this, and I thank y'all for that. So big news coming. Season 2, I've been threatening it for like a while. I promise you it is coming. I'm doing filler shows in between, but just stuff that's important. I still think it's important to get out, so we're going to do the shows all the same. Culture Marauders Network is coming. Be on the lookout for that. There's a lot of big things, a lot of fun things, fun opportunities coming with that, and we're going to have some fun and keep it moving. So, to all the listeners out there or anybody just stumbling upon us, you got something you want to maraud on, something you want to talk about, hit us up in a number of different ways. Instagram is where I usually do my daily dirt, at _culture_marauders. And Facebook, follow us on Facebook at the Culture Marauders. And, this is something that people have been doing more lately, hitting us up on Gmail. Email us things they want to talk about. People want to be featured on the show. You got a project, you got something about to drop, something you just want to talk about. Hit us up. We'll make it happen. So with that being said, hey, thank you, Jeff, Kyle, and Rina, and the listeners out there. I'm going to leave you with one culture, one blood, one love. Peace.
See you guys.